A med school for people who don't believe in science.
What?
Sounds like the cost of olive oil in Utah is going to skyrocket.
That's kind of funny. Will OBGYN even be on the curriculum then?
That says so we know we have at least another 5 to 10 years before
That
the
one
second
cracked
coming.
me up too.
Hey guys, welcome back to Saints Unscripted. I'm here with my cute spouse, Brett, and with
Maria.
Sabrina.
Hey.
Hey guys.
What's up?
Happy to be back. It's been a little bit since I've been on the show.
It's been like 2 or 3 months.
Yeah. So
Welcome back.
thanks.
You got a haircut in that time.
I did. Yeah. Got a haircut. Some things have gone on in my life. I look a little different today. Just to give you guys an update. I mean, you guys already know, but give the audience an update. A couple months ago, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. It's kind of crazy. Don't have it in my family. No cancer in my family. I'm the first by a long shot. Just something didn't seem right and went and got it tested, and it just came as a surprise. So I've been undergoing treatment for the last 2 months, been doing chemo, and we are halfway through chemo, and it's been...
Still has her eyebrows.
I know, my eyebrows and eyelashes are hanging on for dear life right now, but yeah, it's been crazy, but I'm grateful to be here, and it's treatable, and I'm going to be fine. I'm like not going to die, but sorry, that's dark. I shouldn't say.
No, it's good. I'm sure people want to know.
I'm not going to die.
Things are looking good.
The medical advances have come a very long way. So,
Which is great because we're talking about medicine today.
yes.
We're talking about BYU's medical school. The church recently announced that they're opening a medical school, the medical program, and there's been a lot of commentary about it regarding the church's stance on science and medicine, and we want to dive into some of those thoughts, the church's goals.
What was your first reaction when you found out? Did you have a reaction?
I have always thought it interesting that BYU didn't have a medical school.
Yeah,
That
same.
was honestly my first
I
reaction.
thought, oh, that just makes sense.
Mhm.
That's what I thought. But lots of people did not think that.
A lot obviously goes into
Yeah.
creating that. The University of Utah has so many buildings, so many research labs. It's a huge endeavor. So I realize now why they didn't have one, because it's a huge effort. But I just always thought, if the University of Utah has one, why doesn't BYU have one? That's 13-year-old me thinking that.
Very true. I think they'll name it after President Nelson.
I think that
They should. That would be so cool.
Oh, that's a really good point.
President Nelson or elder. Oh my gosh.
The Russell M. Nelson School of Medicine.
Yes. I
I
have
got you.
chemo brain,
I got
okay?
you.
If I say stuff that doesn't make sense, it's because I have chemo brain. It is a thing. Look it up. My brain is like dead. Anyway.
So I don't have the announcement here with me, but I think what caught a lot of people's attention was the wording faith-based. Maybe there were some other aspects of it, but also the church mentioned they had it to help them accomplish their humanitarian goals. There were some
Mhm.
other items in there,
Mhm.
but mostly,
I like that focus.
yeah, I think as a church, that's the cool part. We're excited, help the church's mission and help people in developing countries. I think for detractors of the church, the faith-based wording is probably what pops out the most.
Mm-hmm.
Should we start with the negative parts or should we talk about the humanitarian part?
Yeah, maybe we can just, because some of these comments are positive and some of them are, so just like a
One on
Yeah.
one.
variety.
This is, and are these from Reddit?
Instagram and Reddit. Their
Well, this
reaction.
first one says, if it's not exclusively priesthood blessing training, the Mormons don't believe in the priesthood. What?
Yeah, there were a lot along those lines of like, well, if they're teaching anything beyond the priesthood blessing, then the priesthood isn't even real because that should be all that they need if they believe in it.
Are they being facetious? Like, do
I
people
mean,
really believe these things they're saying?
I think it's a combination.
I feel like they're just
No,
using hyperbole just to...
we were discussing this before. I think some people like faith and works idea.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to share a quote. I loved a quote from Elder Holland about this very idea. He said in his talk, A Broken Vessel, if you had appendicitis, God would expect you to seek a priesthood blessing and get the best medical care available. Then he goes on to say, so too with emotional disorders, you should use all the gifts that our Heavenly Father has provided. The whole idea of our time on earth is to become stewards. God expects you to do everything within your power to find solutions to your problems and to ask for his help.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, you don't just give a priesthood blessing. Like, you do both always. You
Mhm.
always seek the best medical care and you always seek God's care too.
Yeah.
Man, I've seen that firsthand. I mean, we've seen so many miracles as I've gone through the cancer journey. I've gotten so many blessings. I've gone to the temple more consistently than I ever have, like really seeking that spiritual guidance. I have needed that more than I ever have in my life. Like it's the most physically and mentally difficult thing I have ever experienced.
Especially because there's so many decisions with your medical journey.
There's so many outlets and pathways. So there's the faith on one hand, but also medical advances have just come so far because of, I think God has really had his hand in influencing doctors and researchers to find cures for these things. Like I am in a much better place. If I were to have the cancer I have now, would have been a death sentence, like in the 80s, because the specific kind I have, they weren't able to target it. They did not. It was an aggressive form of cancer.
Yeah.
And because of research, they were able to, find a cure and make it actually one of the more curable cancers.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know, like it doesn't make sense for someone to just say that we disregard all of that, because that side of medical advancement is so important too, and is a gift from God.
Yeah. And I read the book Insights about President Nelson by Sherry Dew. And there's one part in it when I was reviewing for this episode where he talks about a specific surgery he was in, obviously open heart because he's a heart surgeon, had this person opened up and he found out what was wrong and he had no idea what to do. And he's like educated,
because I remember this, it was like an experimental procedure. But this wasn't something anyone had done.
He's not encouraging like a lack in research and understanding and like education to then rely on faith. It's like a bonus, right? So and he was able to, in this position, he has this ability to pray for guidance and then keep going with faith. Like he's still using he has
incredible
all of his
talent.
medical.
He has tons of knowledge. This is just like an augmentation.
Yeah. And so as he continues going, knowing what's like, assess the situation, figure out what's going, but like having faith that he will be inspired and know what to do. And then that came to him. He says there's like a diagram that was like exactly of the stitching pattern he needed to do to like close off this part of the heart. And he knew how to do the stitching before. He knows how to do all of that before, right? But then it was that faith on top of it that allowed him to like go forward with confidence, knowing that like this is exactly what needs to be done. And
he was prepared in
Yeah.
a way. He had the talents and the knowledge, like you're saying, to accomplish all parts of the procedure. But it was a new thing, so it was being taught to him in a way.
Yeah. But I don't ever think that President Nelson was going into something saying, I didn't research, and so therefore I'm just going to rely on prayer only. But the prayer is so essential on top of it to just like make him who he is. Or who he was. So.
Yeah. And I feel like BYU has been really good about communicating that. Like there are so many schools under BYU that there's like,
Oh, like the church education system? Or do you mean like each college within?
yeah,
like
there
the
are so
law
many
school,
like
business
colleges, law school, business school,
Physical sciences.
psychology, philosophy. There are so many of these schools that fall under BYU that are teaching within their fields. So why not medical? Like, why would medical be any different? Like, we still believe in the sciences. We still believe in learning the things of the world as well, but with some faith there, like we say prayers in our classes, like.
And there are already nursing programs and people are having medical undergrads at BYU already. It's not like medicine has never been taught at all.
Yeah.
It's not brand new.
There's pre-med but people usually do biology or something for pre-med. Yeah. So here's another comment. We'll get to the positive ones, but these are just the rage bait, so it's easier. A med school for people who don't believe in science, great. So this is intriguing. As you were talking about other schools that people have, BYU's geology department believes in carbon dating. Like the biology department teaches evolution as like a likely theory for how life evolved here on Earth.
Yeah, I took an archaeology class. We learned about evolution as well.
Yeah. People, I think, often think because of maybe things their parents have taught them, or if they're not of our faith, things they've heard about Christianity, the church believes certain things about the age of the earth or evolution.
And there are some people who are of our faith and of other faiths who believe that.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
So based on people they know.
Within our church, but the church has no official stance on a lot of the things people think when they're like, oh, like you don't believe in science, there isn't necessarily a doctrinal answer for some of the things people think there are.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to bring up the one that I saw so much when I was looking through these comments was olive oil comments. So like the one that says the price, or what does it say? Sounds like the cost of olive oil in Utah County and surrounding counties is going to skyrocket.
This is funny.
Okay, that's like mean, but it's kind of funny.
But maybe like
good heavens.
the person who could have posted that could be someone who's like very active, and then like someone who is like very antagonistic towards the church. Like,
I don't know.
You don't really know what the person
like-
thinks because it's funny either way.
Yeah, there's another
They're
one
going
that
to
says,
produce the best olive oil.
This other one says, we will be world leaders in instructing future healers in magic oils and blessings.
Man, that makes us sound interesting. There were a few that were like someone was like, will OBGYN even be on the curriculum then? Or like, will we even teach about like reproductive health? I'm like, nope, that is off the curriculum. So off limits. That is not an essential part of human creation.
You know, I learned that actually a Emeritus 70, he was recently granted Emeritus status. His name is Weatherford T. Clayton. He was an obstetrician gynecologist for 28 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And he talks about that in some of his talks, kind of like, you know, his experience delivering babies and things like that.
So we talked about this a little bit before the episode. Would people bring up that the church doesn't talk about like sex or reproduction or all medical things related to that? It's interesting to me because that was not the case in my family at all. I feel like we talked about it too much. Like my dad's a doctor.
Your family is very
and
open
my
about that
mom-
stuff.
Exactly. And so when people say that, whether they're in the church or have left the church, I always think, I think your experience in that, the church does have a culture related to it, but largely your experience is what happened in your family and how they interpreted the gospel. Like nothing about our doctrine tells you not to talk about those things or not to address them.
Yeah,
I think it's
there is
quite
a
the
little bit
opposite.
culturally,
Culturally.
not doctrinally, but like like
And
it is
that's my
in your
point.
families and
Yeah.
also in culture too, or like the way they talk about it in like, or the way they used to talk about it in Young Women's and stuff like that, you know, like or Young
Yeah.
Men's. Like there's like some of that in
There's
there,
a cultural church element.
Mhm.
Yeah. And a family church element.
But doctrinally, it's like, no, like this is part of the human body. This is how we are created. This is how we bring life into the world. This is amazing stuff. Like, just be careful with it, you know? Yeah.
Let's end on an up note. What are our favorite?
Oh, good idea. I did like when it said Nelson is a doctor. We should have seen this coming.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And I bet you, as a prophet, he's been very aware of the situation of the church medically in other countries where care isn't such a high standard.
Yeah, and very trusted by people.
Yeah.
Like China, people from a lot of his stories, like some people and their big leaders will be like, only he can operate on me.
Yeah.
Send him over here.
He has a reputation of
Yeah.
advancing the field.
Yep. I like this one that says, so we know we have at least another 5 to 10 years before
That
the
one
second
cracked
coming.
me up too. I know maybe it's not right, but I felt that same way about like the Salt Lake Temple and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't mean there's merit to it, but you kind of
A little bit of
yeah,
security.
Okay, cool.
Well,
now my marker is the Olympics in Salt Lake. I'm like, okay, past that, we're good. Probably during
This
the
is why we're the
Olympics, is my
non-authoritative
guess.
voice on the church.
That's how everyone's
Yeah.
going to see Jesus. He's going to come during the Olympics. Because
I
he's going to
won't-
be on TV.
I won't admit it, but I've had the same thought.
Just admit.
It's a possibility. That's fair.
You know, it's
not
possible that
outside
he
the
comes
realm.
today.
Yeah. We don't know. I don't know.
No
Well,
one knows.
But I like to think
Anyways,
about it.
Can I wrap it?
Yeah.
Well, guys, we had a lot of fun discussing this. We hope you are all being healthy mentally and physically. Take care of yourself. Watch after yourself. And we've got some other videos here for you to check out. So please, whichever one I'm pointing at, give it a watch.